Hello and welcome to Hank Without Hank. My name is John Green. I'm the manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, who are top of League Two, the bottom tier of English professional football. But soon we'll be in League One, and we will face MK Dons, the team that used to be us. Who were they? Who were they? Who were they when they were us? Oh, I mean, listen, it's not about facing the MK Dons, but let's hope we get promoted. So today we're starting Jack Midson. There's only one Jack Midson, as well as Time Lord Matt Smith, Mr. Smith, who will hopefully go to Washington today up front because John Green a little bit tired after our FA Cup triumph. I'm going to answer, or at least analyze, the top 10 what is questions people asked Google in 2013. It was a glorious year, 2013. Not really. Good year. Nice. I'll tell you what it was a good year to be. Me. I had a great year. It was a really wonderful year. I had a baby. Well, I guess I didn't have her. Meredith, what was the number 10 question that was asked Google that begins, what is? What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a virtual currency that has some promise, but also because of the way that it was set up has like a built-in deflationary structure, which is very problematic from kind of like a long-term fiscal planning standpoint. And the main problem with Bitcoin is that you can't actually use it much of anywhere, which means that currently, at least, it's mostly sort of speculative. Currencies work best when people can use them to purchase goods and services, which you can a little bit with Bitcoin, but there are a lot of things you can't do. Anyway, back when Bitcoin cost like $30, a couple nerd fighters tipped Hank and I several Bitcoins, which are now worth like $7,000, which we gave to charity. So that's the update on that front. So yeah, there are ways to convert your Bitcoins into dollars, but you have to sort of like sell it on a market at the moment. But it's an interesting. I think virtual currencies have a lot of promise. But I think we're still quite a ways away. Oh, my gosh. You know what else had a lot of promise? That pass to your husband? Oh, the disappointment is palpable. That was one of the great plays in the history of AFC Wimbledon. Oh, it was a beauty. And then it was just all for nothing. Like so much effort and joy in this world. Very deeply frustrating. Meredith, what was the ninth most what is question? What is Snapchat? Isn't that a thing that teenagers say is not about casual virtual sexting, but is? Is that? Oh, Meredith insists that it's not about casual virtual sexting because she is herself a Snapchat user. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I don't get it, but I also didn't get Instagram until I got on Instagram, and now I kind of like Instagram. So maybe it's just like Instagram, but you send people pictures and they disappear after 3 seconds or something, right? Is that the idea? But see, it seems to me like what kind of pictures would you want to disappear? Yabamba just almost scored a goal, and that's everybody's favorite moment. Oh, Yabamba's so good at finishing, but he's so bad at passing. All right, what's the eighth most? What is lupus? Lupus is an autoimmune disease that can be very serious. It took the life of Flannery O'Connor, one of the greatest writers of the 20th century in the United States. And also was like a debilitating illness for her for many years before she died. I don't know why did the searches for lupus go up so much? Did some... Huh? Google doesn't know? That's kind of scary. Yeah, that's worrisome. I don't like lupus at all. I'm opposed to it, strongly opposed. Yeah, okay, what else? What's Obamacare? Obamacare is the name, the sort of derisive name given to the Affordable Care Act, this big healthcare law that overhauled the American healthcare system, passed a few years ago, but is some parts of it are only going into effect now. Oh, that should have been a goal. Specifically, the insurance exchanges that allow, basically everyone has to buy insurance through these exchanges or else pay a tax penalty. And even though the law is neither as good nor as bad as people... Oh! Mr. Smith goes to Washington! Oh, right at the end of the first half. Mr. Smith. with it. There, just, oh, did you see nutmeg the dude? And then there was another save, and then Mr. Smith was like, I am going to Washington. I'm going to clean up this town. And he did. Beautiful goal. Beautiful goal. Yeah, so a lot of the parts of the Affordable Care Act went into effect a couple years ago, that you can have your kids on your insurance till they're 26. Some stuff about family planning and equal rights for women on certain healthcare issues. But some things didn't go into effect until October 1st, specifically the opening of the exchanges, which was disastrous. The website opening was a big disaster, a big snafu. But none of that is really going to matter in 10 years. What will be important is the idea of the exchanges. I think it will work. I think it should work. But the number of Americans, you know, if we stick with some version of a health insurance exchange, the number of uninsured Americans, which currently stands at like 40 million, will go down eventually to very near zero, and eventually to zero itself. And we'll have universal health care coverage, which we will be the last industrialized nation in the history of the world to have. But at least we'll have it. All right, what's next? What is sequestering? The sequester was this insane idea in American governance. So the initial thought was we have this problem, which is that we can't get Congress to agree about anything. We need to pass a budget because it's really inefficient to pass all of these short-term gap spending bills. It ends up costing the government hundreds of billions of dollars that it doesn't need to spend, because, you know, short-term spending bills make less sense on several levels than long-term spending bills. So we got to find a way to make the government, force the government to come to a compromise. Oh, that was almost beautiful. If the government doesn't come to a compromise, this horrible, disastrous thing will happen in which all parts of the government will be cut by the exact same percentage, and it will hurt, you know, everyone. So that will never happen, and it will be a way of forcing people to work together, except that it wasn't a way of forcing people to work together, and instead the sequester did happen, and we had this ridiculously inefficient system whereby every part of the federal government was cut by the exact same percentage, regardless of whether it was a good part of the federal government, an efficiently run part, or an inefficiently run part. And we had to pay these federal bureaucrats all of this money to determine what constitutes an equal percentage of each part of the government. And it was just a total embarrassing nightmare and an example of how kind of inefficient and ridiculous the American Congress has become in this age of having more to fear from party. Oh! Come on, Mr. Smith. Yeah. Anyway, it was a disaster, and then it recently ended just with finally passing a budget in the United States for the first time in like a year and a half. Yeah, so we have a budget, and we get to avoid a government shutdown for like 18 months, and yeah, whatever. It was a pretty embarrassing deal. What's next, Meredith? What's gluten? Oh, it's a thing in wheat that some people think that some people are allergic to, and some people are sensitive to, and some people think causes all kinds of bad health problems. I'm going to stay out of that debate because I'm no dummy. What's next? What is Molly? To be honest with you, not that I am a drug expert, I'm not totally sure. Is it ecstasy? It's just ecstasy. It's like a stronger, pure ecstasy. Is it like how when I was a kid, my dad, no, I can't. I got myself halfway into a story that I cannot finish. So it's just like, it's like super ecstasy or something? Is it bad for you? Oh, people die from it. Well, I mean, okay. So like, listen, I don't even think that you should take the non super serious form of ecstasy. I think regular ecstasy always seemed to me like a little bit of a dangerous drug. I mean, yeah, I don't know. But I was always a very anxious. I mean, look, I'm a very anxious person, so I was always a very anxious drug person about drugs as well. I was like, why would you do that when you might die? And they were like, people would be like, oh, because it feels good. And I would be like, yeah, but you might die, and then you'll be dead forever. Anyway, I was like the biggest buzzkill, at the party. And then if it was a drug that induced paranoia, they would be like, oh my God, I might die, and I'd be like, totally, you might have like an hour to live. All right, what's next? What is DOMA? The Defense of Marriage Act? It's a law that doesn't exist anymore. Yay! I'm making myself sound like I have such a liberal bias when in fact I don't. It's not fair. Lots of, it's funny because on Tumblr I am frequently criticized for being a capitalist pig. And not, and to be fair, I am kind of a capitalist pig. Anyway, DOMA was the Defense of Marriage Act, but now it is no longer in effect. And we have taken one step toward marriage equality. And indeed, as the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, the first football team ever to have two married forwards, have taken one step further toward going to League One. I'm sorry to have hurt the feelings of the Burton Albion keeper. It's not my fault that it was a dominant performance. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.